Welcome to Beyond the Bell, a podcast from the Barrow County School System. My name is Sierra Roberts, and today we're discussing the Project Aware grant and how we're promoting mental health in our classrooms. So thanks for coming onto the show, you guys. Do you want to go ahead and introduce yourselves?
Yeah, so I'm Jade Baker. I'm a Project Aware mental health clinician.
My name is Caron Hope. I'm the project manager for Project Aware.
And I'm Carmelita Hale, also a Project Aware clinician.
Awesome. So it's so nice to have you guys on the show with us today. Caron, will you tell us about Project Aware, what it is, and how does it impact our schools?
Sure. So Project Aware is a federal grant awarded by SAMHSA and the Center for Mental Health. And so what it is a grant that provides funding for school-based mental health services. It actually stands for Advancing Wellness and Recovery in Education. It first came out in 2014, at least to Georgia, and was awarded to a few school districts in 2014, and then again in 2019, and then we were just awarded last year. So the whole idea is to provide funding for programs and services to build an infrastructure and capacity for school-based mental health services.
That's awesome. Barrow is one of 3 districts in Georgia to get this grant. How does it feel to receive it?
It's exciting, I think. I wasn't around when it was initially applied for. That was our Director of Student Services, Dr. Christina Lowe. So she was the one who spearheaded the initiative with Northeast Georgia RESA to bring it here to Barrow County as well as Jackson County and Walton County schools. And so I think it's really an exciting initiative to that we're trusted with, a large amount of federal funds to support the mental health of our students and families.
That's awesome. How does it feel do you guys get to collaborate with the other counties that are?
We do, and that has been extremely helpful given it's a very new thing for our school district, and so it's been so wonderful to be able to collaborate with Jackson and Walton, who are right next to us, and while very different school districts, we kind of have the same goal. So being able to collaborate with them. We've also leaned on school districts who have had Project Aware in the past, so Hall County and Houston County and Bibb County are all school districts in Georgia, so they've already been through the kind of initial implementation process, so it's just been really helpful having them to lean on and ask questions and not feel like you have to reinvent the wheel.
That's awesome. Carmelita, what are some misconceptions students, parents, and school staff may have about mental health, and what should we know that they might not be aware of?
Some of the misconceptions are that mental health challenges are a sign of weakness, but in actual reality, mental health issues can impact anyone regardless of their strength or character. Another one is that mental health challenges are a phase. And particularly with students that maybe they'll grow out of it, but mental health challenges are real and can have long-lasting effects if not, addressed and treated appropriately. Mental health issues only affect certain individuals or demographics, but mental health challenges can impact anyone regardless of age, gender role, or socioeconomic status. And another are that they don't take mental health challenges seriously and underestimate the toll that mental health can have on a student's daily life, academic performance, and overall well-being. And lastly, but not least, that talking about mental health will make it worse. And in actual reality, open communication and destigmatizing conversations lead to increased awareness, understanding, and opportunities for support.
I think that was a good point because I totally agree with that. I think it's better to go ahead and get out in the open and be able to talk about these things. So I really admire what this grant's going to be able to do for our students. Jade, how does a typical day usually look for you? Are you mostly hands-on in classroom, training staff? What does it look like?
It's a good question, and we're still trying to figure it out. So right now, since we're just laying the foundation, we've only had the grant for a few months. So our typical day is what can we do to get the grant up and going? So our hope is that we'll be training staff, we'll be doing goal-oriented brief counseling with individuals, we'll be doing group counseling, and Carmelita and I both have about 9 schools each, so how that's going to look, we're not quite sure yet. So we're still getting it set up, but we're excited to see what that typical day is going to look like, and I think we'll have a better idea next year when we have a bit more of an idea of the grant itself.
That's exciting. What are some initiatives currently happening to increase mental health awareness?
So currently, one of the biggest programs we use is Erica's Lighthouse. And it's a program that discusses depression, mental health, and suicide. So we're doing it now in high schools during the 9th grade health and PE curriculum. So we're hoping to expand that into middle schools to where the language is more of an introduction to those topics. So that's one initiative that we're working towards. We do have Mindfulness March where we kind of model and promote coping and grounding skills through like rock painting, meditation, coloring, those kinds of things. So we don't have much currently, but we're hoping to bolster that with the Project Aware grant.
Okay. So when did this first get awarded? Like what month was it?
I believe it was.
The grant officially started October 1st. That was the first date of 2023, given then the first 3 months were like a hiring staff. So I came on board, for example, in December of 2023, and then shortly after Jade and Carmelita. So the first month of funding was technically October 1st.
It's pretty good. I guess that makes sense why we're going to see it really happening next year, and this year's all about planning and get it. I think this is awesome. I remember when I first came on board and I heard about Project Aware, I thought it was amazing because, it's so important that we go ahead and start this early on in the schools. I feel like it's going to help our future generations to come. So, who are some community services you work with to support students?
Yeah, so that's also a really good question. A big part of the grant is either bolstering partnerships or creating more partnerships, just strengthening, community partnerships to see how we can all work together to support, the mental health of our community as a whole. And so, we're constantly seeing who we can partner with. We have our, through the APEX grant, which is a program that already exists for mental health services. It's a grant that provides school-based mental health services for students who might be uninsured or have difficulty accessing services outside of the school, and so that's through the Social Empowerment Center. So we partner with them in addition to Advantage Behavioral Health and a lot of our other community-based agencies. A really exciting thing that's happening today is our first local advisory board meeting. So part of the grant is to develop a board to kind of guide the grant over the next 5 years to see how the community can work together, how the grant can support the community and kind of vice versa. And so we have a lot of new partners coming to that meeting, some local individuals in the faith community, some Rotary Club members, some Chamber of Commerce members. So, some kind of folks that you don't really think about when you think about mental health. You think about therapists, you think about maybe mentor programs, but we're really looking to expand partnerships just to make it a kind of a community effort more so than just putting it all on families or putting it all on schools. We want mental health to be promoted as a community initiative.
That's awesome. What are some ways that we can promote positive mental health with our schools?
Right. So, that's a good question. I think some of that has been touched on, already today. I think, talking about mental health in a positive way, destigmatizing it, increasing the awareness and just mental health literacy of everyone. We have some programs and services that are geared directly towards that, like Youth Mental Health First Aid, for example, which is a program that teaches adults how to be able to support students. Like we want our adults to be able to recognize when a student might be in crisis or when a fellow adult might be in crisis, and then how to get them the appropriate help. And it's also just about promoting community and looking out for one another, knowing when someone might be struggling, being there to support them, being able to know where to direct them to for help and support. So I think just talking about mental health in a way that everyone has it, and sometimes some days it might be better than others, and for some folks it might be better than others, but everyone has mental health, and everyone's going to need help and support at some point in their life. So how can we just talk about it as a way of community togetherness and promoting it for everyone?
So one of the primary factors in Barrow County, Jackson, and Walton receiving the grant is that we have such high rates of depression, anxiety, and suicide attempts and suicidal ideations. So currently, Barrow County is one of the highest counties with just below 60%, or right at 61% of our students have depression symptoms. And then anxiety is around that 50%, and suicide rates are higher than other counties. So I think that was one of the primary reasons and factors as to why we got this grant and why raising awareness and increasing mental health literacy is so important.
Absolutely. How do they get the numbers? Does that come from the counselors or?
I think for most of our students, it's from, is that a survey?
The Georgia Health Survey.
Okay. Yeah, so most of our percentages come from the health survey that students and parents take. And so we're able to take that number and see where we need to focus, like areas we need to focus on.
Absolutely.
I just wanted to add that I think one of the best takeaways is that the greatest risk reducer of a mental health crisis is a child having a relationship with a trusted adult. Mm-hmm. And so that, if you are, interacting with young people, just building relationships is one of the greatest things you can do, checking in with them.
Absolutely. I think that's why also having like our mentor program is so important too, like to have those students have those adult, relationships in their lives that they might not have at home. So is this going to affect every student? Is that the goal? So to start like just teaching in the classroom, or are we going to pull out specific students that like for a fact that they need it a little bit more than others? So what's the plan with that?
Yeah, so the plan with that, the programs and services that are offered through Project Aware are what we consider like Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3. So Tier 1 is all students. So we have, so for example, the suicide awareness that Jade mentioned earlier, that's Tier 1. So every student, once it starts in middle school and then currently in high school, at some point will receive that awareness training. So that's Tier 1. Tier 2 is some students. So some students might need more than that. So say, for example, during that, the suicide awareness training, they might mention to a counselor that they recognize that they have some symptoms, that they might want to talk to someone. Then that kind of escalates into Tier 2. And then Tier 3 is more of our targeted community-based services. So Project Aware is it's really designed to bolster our Tier 1 and Tier 2 support for students, because a lot of times what can happen is a student might be struggling with anxiety or depression, and then they're kind of automatically referred to a Tier 3 community-based service, for example, like Advantage or Social Empowerment, when all they might need is a check-in or check-out with a counselor, school counselor, but because the capacity isn't there and the infrastructure isn't there for that, they kind of automatically jump to a higher level of care that then kind of taxes our community agencies, who are oftentimes near or at capacity. So the whole idea behind Project Aware is all students, and then programs and services to target specific needs that they might have.
Thank you guys for coming in today to talk with us about Project Aware and how we could, impact our schools and start working on the mental health with our students. If you've enjoyed this conversation, be sure to subscribe to Beyond the Bell wherever you get your podcast, and check out our website and socials for more information. And remember, the learning journey never stops. It continues beyond the bell.